Welcome back to the Maley Way. I'm your host, Jim Maley. Today, I am with a guy named Ryan Lipsett. Now, one of the reasons I'm having Ryan on is because he's a young guy. And it actually brings up a funny story that I was talking about with him earlier. When I was first looking at bringing him on, I was like, wait a minute, do I have to contact this guy's parents in order to get permission to get him on? Luckily, he is a freshman at UIC. He's 18 years old. So then I was like, all right, let's do this. And the reason why I wanted to bring him on is because I think it kind of shows and highlights, the improvements that we've made over the past 20 years in terms of mental health awareness, breaking the stigma, and guys being willing to talk about it. He is doing something at 18 years old that it took me until I was 36 to start doing. It took me till I was about 26 to even address mental health issues at all. So I think it highlights kind of the difference between generations. And I think it shows that we've made a lot of progress, but I think both of us would agree there's still a lot more progress to be made. So that's why I had Ryan on. I didn't have to ask your parents. I appreciate you coming on the podcast. And
Of course,
yeah, thank you. Welcome to the Maley Way podcast.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's great to have another guy to talk to, especially someone like obviously you're an athlete. I still think very athletic, but yeah, just having another good talk.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. And I think, I've been reading up about you. I've seen that you've gone and spoken at different schools. And I just think that's really cool. Like even sometimes when I teach in the health classroom,
hmm
I'm like, listen, and I will talk about this and I will talk about my personal stories, but I'm like, a 41-year-old guy talking, that doesn't register as much as if you all talk to each other.
hmm
And I think that's what's really cool. I don't see that often, like someone willing to talk about this
Yeah.
at this age. Like how, before we get into your backstory, I just want to know, how did you start talking about it?
Yeah, I mean, I started advocating like kind of the end of my junior year for
Mhm.
mental health. I started on this national committee, which sounds big, but it
Yeah.
was a lot of like
Oh, it's big. It's big.
it was like
It's huge.
it was on like online. I wasn't sharing my story, but
Yeah.
after I did a presentation at the IEA state
Yeah.
assembly, the lead person for NAMI for Illinois, Emily Fagan, we've been in contact before, and then she was like, I think you'd be great for this program.
Mhm.
So up until this is kind of my first school year and first few months where I'm like actually sharing my own story.
Yeah.
I mean, if you were to ask me a year ago, even when I started advocating, and definitely 2 years ago, anything back then, I wouldn't picture myself, advocating. Sharing my story is something that I never wanted to do.
Yeah.
Let alone reach out for help. So
Yeah.
I never even pictured myself,
Now,
speaking.
let me ask you this, because like the slogan that I have I got you a sweatshirt. It's there. The slogan that I have on the back of that is share selfishly.
hmm
And the reason why I say that is, did you ever play basketball?
Yeah, I played basketball like my whole life. I played AU.
Okay. So I would always say, when I was a coach or even when I played, I screen selfishly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gets you the ball open.
Yeah. So because it gets me open.
hmm
So now I say this, like, share selfishly. 90% of the reason why I'm doing all this stuff and why I'm going and speaking, it's obviously to help other people. But 10% is when I do it, like even talking to you right
Mhm.
now, or when I talk to an audience, it makes me feel good too. Do you get that out of it too as well?
Absolutely. Like the best thing for me right now for my own like recovery journey is speaking and talking to people about it. As much as talking to someone else or any other like skills that you would think help me, it really is sharing my story that
Yeah.
helps me the most. Having a conversation like this, speaking at schools, it's kind of obviously I want to help other people. Like that's the main goal
Yeah.
is to do that, but it also helps me a
Yeah. And
ton.
like, do you ever feel this? Like, you played basketball. Were you ever in the zone at any time? Like where you were on, like just on fire? You ever have that happen?
So maybe when I was little, but I
Yeah,
was
whatever.
after like going into, growing up, my anxiety kind of took over basketball to
But
where
did you ever like get or what anything where
yeah,
you're like
yeah.
in that locked
So
in?
yeah, so I played golf,
Yeah.
like my freshman to my junior year,
Yeah.
and there was many times where I was like locked in, like with like a flow state almost.
Yes.
You
No,
just feel it. It's
the flow
awesome.
state. This is a
Yeah.
good point. So, do you ever get that like when you talk? Do you ever get that like where you feel like that flow state in a way?
Mm, Not a ton.
Okay.
More recently, since I'm more comfortable sharing it, like today,
Yeah.
like I spoke like earlier today, which I mentioned.
Yeah.
But I was in the like just like a ton of questions, just a great audience,
Yeah.
and it just was like answering one after the other.
Yeah.
So that's like where I feel where I'm not. All I want to do is answer questions, and yeah. I mean
Yeah.
that's like my flow state too.
And I think you'll like as you keep going, you're gonna feel that even more, like where you're gonna be able to like kind of pivot because you kind of can feel the audience. Like I think
Hmm.
you're like that's what I mean I've only done it for like I've probably done it like 30 times. And like I keep getting better and better at it. And then like you kind of react to what you can feel the energy of like, oh, did that work? Or oh, that joke didn't quite
Yeah.
land. And
Yeah.
I got to fix that for next time. And then sometimes you'll just like start coming up with stuff off the
Hmm.
top of your head. No, I guess this isn't even how I was originally going to start this, but I really admire and respect someone doing that, especially at your age. But I guess I want to go to the story behind
Yeah.
it. Like, so how did like early life,
Hmm.
like when you were young, did you have any sort of
Hmm.
struggles, anxiety, or
Yeah.
anything like that?
Yeah, so when I was like super little, up until third grade, I had like night terrors. Do you
Yeah.
know what night
Oh
terrors
yeah,
are?
yeah,
Yeah, so I had night terrors growing up then, and then like slight anxiety and
yeah,
like small like attachment issues, but that's kind of like common, like pretty normal.
yeah.
And then up until like the change was around early middle school.
Okay.
Like when kind of puberty started hitting, like I gained a little bit more weight, and that's when kind of looking at myself differently and that negative mindset switched into my head,
Yeah,
and then just started digging my grave from there. So
yeah.
yeah, it was like growing up, just slight anxiety and kind of the night terrors, but
But then like middle school,
yeah,
it kinda,
that yeah, for sure.
and then I think I saw like you kind of had body dysmorphia. Can you kind of
Yeah.
explain what that is to
Hmm.
people who don't know?
It's for me at least. It was what other people saw, I didn't see.
Yeah,
So I saw someone who like was overweight. Looking now, I wasn't overweight, but I saw someone who shouldn't be seen. Someone who I didn't want anyone to see. Right? I hated the way I looked, and I felt that way too in my head because of that. Right? I wanted to hide myself. So because of that, like that's when the isolation became
yeah,
in. But a lot of body dysmorphia is basically your mind telling you lies.
yeah.
That's it.
Now, when you had that, did you ever have any like eating type disorder issues with that to try to kind of
Hmm.
counteract that?
Yeah, so with that, that didn't really come into play. Maybe like my freshman year, I kind of wanted to change because throughout there's much more like sixth, seventh, and eighth grade.
Yeah,
But then freshman year, I was like, okay, I want to switch.
yeah,
So I started starving myself, and like again, strong body dysmorphia. So I'd starve myself, and I would work out in my room alone every night, covering my breath so no one would hear. So that's kind of the more like I guess eating disorder type. I was never diagnosed with an eating disorder, so I don't say I
yeah.
ever had it. But yeah, the only thing I really did was just starving myself.
Now, I'm trying to think of time frame in terms of
That
this. Was this during
that
COVID?
so that's
Like,
freshman year. So that is like the end of COVID.
okay, so
Hmm.
the body dysmorphia, like, was that kind of going on during COVID? Like, do you think
Yeah.
do you think
Well,
COVID had an impact on anything? Like in terms of
if anything, I started feeling bad before COVID,
yeah,
but I think the isolation of not being with friends and declining invitations to parties and hanging out with friends, I think it was worse not being in school and being home.
yeah,
I
right,
don't attribute anything to COVID.
yeah,
But I think if I had like just being alone more, then I already was like isolating myself.
Yeah. Yeah, because I really struggled during COVID, and I always was looking at it as a teacher, and like I'm like on a Zoom with like all these students, and I'm like, I cannot believe these kids have to live like this. Like, it is, I just
Hmm.
can't believe like that went on, and I'm sure the isolation had to be at least it just had to be tough. Like it was tough for me as an
Hmm.
adult. I can't imagine have been a kid at that time.
Yeah, I think even though I was less alone in high school as in being with people, I think I felt more lonely in high school though.
Yeah,
I think loneliness isn't really the absence of the people you're with, but it's the absence of connection.
yeah,
So with the isolating myself in middle school, I didn't have any connection or like someone I could go to in high school when things started at like the super low point.
yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. So like you're having this body dysmorphia, like
Hmm.
a little starvation. Like what else started then happening
Yeah.
after that?
So with the body dysmorphia, like around sixth grade, like with that negative mindset, which I kind of talked about, that led to like my depression. So
Hmm.
seventh grade, and that followed me into high school into still now. And during like to jump off like freshman year with the body, like the eating,
Yeah.
that kind of stopped. Um, Sophomore year, I started using substances to cope with the eating,
Like
and also,
alcohol or drug.
yeah, like drugs,
Okay, gotcha.
and that kind of it helped for a little bit for eating at least,
Yeah.
but now I have a negative and unhealthy coping skill
Yeah.
that is making me feel better for a short time.
Yeah.
So
And then you feel
I
a lot
yeah, like
worse
everything comes
afterwards.
back.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, like all the way up until high school, still like living with depression. And during this time, like suicidal thoughts, I'd occasionally thought about in middle school, but now these thoughts are constant and they're very present in every single day.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think, and with like I had depression and anxiety. So with that, it's again like having no one to go to, no one to talk to. So it's living with these thoughts every single day and having no one to go to.
Yeah.
So around my junior year or around the end of my sophomore year, I kind of went to my mom
Yeah.
and I said, because she knew I had slight anxiety when I was a kid, I told her, I said, I think my anxiety is getting bad.
Yeah.
And she said one word. She said, okay. And you might think that's bad,
Yeah.
but that's the perfect thing that I wanted her to say.
Yeah.
Because even though I'm super involved, I didn't want to share my story or tell anyone anything about me,
Yeah.
let alone my parents, friends, anyone at school.
Yeah.
So that's the best thing she could have said for me was okay. And
Yeah.
so that was kind of the turn in recovery for me was like at the end of my sophomore year when she got me connected with the right people.
Yeah. Well, so who did she then get you connected with? Like, what was?
It
Oh, wait,
was
actually, before that, before that, I wanted to talk about like when you were going through
mhm.
that. Were you like? Because I always talk about like when I'm depressed, like I've become a very good actor. Were
Oh,
you like just like acting in front
yeah,
of, and then you'd kind of like crash when you got home? Was that happening to you?
absolutely. So I smiled, I played the part, like I didn't want anyone to see what I was going through, and I think I did it very good.
Yeah.
That's what I thought at least.
Yeah.
And then I would go home, I'd put my headphones in, I'd lock my door, and I would cry for hours and hours.
Yeah.
And this, like, almost seems like that sophomore year was like, okay, things started getting better, but it didn't, right?
Yeah.
So it, like, still going into junior year, that's still happening, all those issues. And there were so many times in my life before reaching out for help to my mom where, and even after, where it was just like planning of suicide and just knowing that, I'm going to amount to nothing. Like I'm going to die by suicide somehow.
Yeah.
And I think the second, like I had two major switches for me. And the second one was kind of opening up to a friend.
Yeah.
That was what I worked towards for like 2 years. And mind you,
Because you had kept it completely
yeah,
out of
yeah.
any sort of anybody else besides your mom.
And my mom didn't really know, like she didn't know any, like I didn't tell her anything.
Yeah.
Right. So that was kind of the first person who truly I talked to everything about. Yeah.
So that person so your mom, who did she kind of introduce you to? Like, did she introduce you to like professional help?
Yeah. So that's the first thing she did was get me to a psychiatrist, which then got me diagnosed and medication. And from that, I saw a therapist and then went through. So my recoveries, obviously every recovery is very different. I started seeing therapists and then I maybe saw 2 or 3, didn't see them anymore, switched to psychologist, and went through a few of those too. So this is through over a few years' time, and he went to an outpatient therapy program.
Yeah.
But all the what I was thinking was these people aren't like me. These people are weird. I'm not doing this.
Yeah.
So it's almost internal stigma that I had that led me to not kind of slow my recovery down or not really improve my life the way it needed to be.
So I guess because I know exactly what you're talking about in that respect, in terms of did you need to hear it from someone who went through it? Or you know what I mean? Like sometimes people have a hard time, like unless they know someone else has gone through it, you're kind of like, well, you don't know what this is all about.
Yeah, I think a lot of the time when I was seeing it throughout my life, I thought a lot of the things like I didn't reach out for help was other people are going through worse things.
Yeah.
I'm not strong enough to open up. There's no point, I'm wasting someone's time as well as, but like, what were you saying about, what's it? Can you repeat the question? Sorry.
I'm trying to remember.
I'm trying to remember.
No, because when you were talking, I was going to say, I know what you're talking about the comparison.
Oh, like if they didn't, oh yeah. So I thought like, I kind of trusted them, like, okay, they have this, but also I don't know anything about them, right? Like I don't want to share my whole story to someone who I don't know anything about you.
Yeah. And have you gotten better at that over the years? Like, or are you still kind of in that kind of mind frame?
Well, now I only see my psychiatrist once every few months. But in the terms of sharing my story, it's what I do for fun almost.
Yeah. Right.
So,
well, and I think you said something there too that just struck with me, talking about the comparison. And I think that was one of the hardest things for me in terms of getting help was like at the time I was teaching in the inner city. And I saw these kids who like did not have a whole lot. They saw violence every single day. My wife's dad had just died. And I'm like sitting there being like, I don't know, I had like a pretty decent upbringing.
Yeah.
And like, how can I be like this? So one of the things that I always say is like, you can't really play, when you're struggling, you can't play the comparison game because everybody's different. I think the way that you can kind of be grateful for your situation, I think you use that when you're doing okay. When you're doing good, I think it's a great form of self-care. Then I think you can compare, because then you can be like, I'm grateful. But when you get to like the bad point, comparing your situation to others, it's just that it doesn't help you at all.
I mean, it only slows everything down. Yeah, it's not a good thing to do.
Yeah. So you go and talk to was it a friend?
Yeah, it was a friend. It was Super Bowl Sunday. We dropped one of my friends off. I was with like him and another because he wanted to go watch. We went and got Potbelly off of Harlem.
Okay.
And so a few things like with the eating, he was the only person who noticed like I wasn't eating that much. Like we used to have half days, and we used to just go get food afterwards. And he always like would see me not eating that much sometimes, and he would be like eat your food and stuff like that, and that would get me eating. Yeah. So he knew. I also talked to him a little bit about it, not in depth about anything else. And then he asked me like, "Are you okay?" And that's when everything came down. Yeah. And that's what I wanted someone to ask me for years, even though I didn't want to share my story with anyone or have anyone know anything about me in that sense. All I still longed for was for someone to tell me that it's going to be okay, for someone to reassure me that this pain would stop. Yeah. And then
now, did he had he dealt with this before himself? Is that how he knew to ask you, or did he just ask you out of nowhere?
So so one of the best things that I tell people is when you're talking to a friend is after I opened up about everything, and mind you, this is hours and hours of talking to him, he shared with me, even though he hasn't dealt with depression or these things that I'm going through, he still shared his past and like who everything about him that he probably doesn't tell people, or even I knew major events but not in detail about them.
Yeah.
So it's the reciprocity that truly builds, that connection. And like after that day, it was the first time in my life where I felt a little bit less alone.
That's awesome. This guy is pretty amazing. I mean, do you still talk to this guy
Yeah,
about
he's
it?
like one of my best friends. Yeah.
That's pretty cool. I mean, especially, I mean, for guys too,
Hmm.
like that's just like it's just like a hard thing. I think
Yeah.
women are able to talk about these
Hmm.
things a whole lot easier than
Yeah.
guys are. So that's pretty cool that he was able to help you out in that
Yeah.
regard.
I think even now today, which is funny because I'll talk to a random classroom or an audience, but I still don't really tell my story to a lot of my close friends even.
Yeah.
But like
Well,
today I have,
they're gonna hear it now.
yeah. Yeah. But
Once we put this all over the internet.
but today, like the people who I would go to, like I have that one friend.
Yeah.
I also opened up to about like to another guy, another friend, and he's more of like that, sport player. Like when you think of like a guy,
Yeah.
and he took it, the same way.
Yeah.
And like one of my girls as well, like one of my
Yeah.
girlfriends as well.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, it's kind of funny that you say that too. Like when I was struggling, I was the coach at St. Lawrence, and I always tell this, I was struggling big time, and I had to take a leave of absence from school
Hmm.
and coaching, and I was going to go back. I had to go back like a couple weeks. I got better, and I had to go back a couple weeks later, and like I was like, what am I going to say to these 16, 17, 18-year-old boys from the south side of Chicago
Hmm.
who like they were tough, hard-nosed kids, and it was like I was gonna lie. And then my mom told me, like, hey, there's gonna be someone that hears your story and goes and gets help because of what you say.
Absolutely, yeah.
And so like I did it, and like not only did they like accept it, they like kind of like rallied around it. And I always say this, like we won 12 games, and
Hmm.
then but sure enough, like somebody came in and asked for help like a couple months later.
Wow.
And it's kind of funny, like you spend your whole life saying like I gotta keep everything to myself, and then you
Hmm.
do it, you don't you let it out, and then it's like, oh, that wasn't really a big deal. I don't know what all the fuss
Yeah.
was about.
Yeah, and I like when you mentioned it was not fuss, but when I first talked to that friend, um, I had a lot of anxiety in the past because I was kind of building like my group that I want to be in. I saw these group of people, and I was like, I want to be included with them. They seem close, funny, everything that I wanted. But even when I started hanging out with them, my anxiety kind of wouldn't let me feel alone. Like
Yeah.
I would double down on my thoughts at home, just analyzing their body language and the things that they said, their tone of voice,
Yeah.
thinking that I was a bother, that I didn't belong.
Yeah.
And it kind of doubled down even more after I talked to him.
Yeah.
And then a week after we talked, I was like, could we like talk again? Because I just want to like talk to you about more things.
Yeah.
And I told him that. So
Yeah.
like he was kind of the first person I was honest with. Even when I thought like, can you text me more? Can you do this? Like I was honest about
Yeah.
that instead of just hiding, and that's what helped me a lot. Like
Yeah.
it's so like, and then from then on, just knowing how to approach talking to a friend has been a lot different.
Yeah.
And knowing like, especially like you would obviously want someone who knows everything about to be there every single time you're having a crisis, regardless if they're supposed to know, they're not going to know.
Yeah. Right.
So it's kind of like I had a lot of like unrealistic expectations out of him,
Yeah.
and then just after like a year or two, and now like he's his own person, but as long as I know he's there for me, and when I call he answers,
Yeah.
like that makes the biggest difference for
Yeah.
sure.
And I think the cool part too is like with what you're saying about him. When I go speak, and I'm guessing this might be one of your things too, is when I go speak in front of people, I'm always like, this isn't for Ryan who's struggling right now, who's in
Mhm.
like the deep, dark state, because you or like Jim Maley who's struggling, I'm not listening to like I got so many thoughts going on in the head. I'm not usually listening to him. Like it's more for the guys like your
Yeah.
buddy to
Mhm.
like be able to be like see the signs and recognize the stuff
Mhm.
that's going on in you or me. Now I'm not saying you can't, you can definitely get through to someone who's struggling, but I think like the education about this has more to do with the other people who aren't
Mhm.
struggling because they're the ones that I think can help, which obviously
Yeah.
happened in your case where he, asked the question that
Yeah.
you needed him to ask.
I think outside of like when I do speak at classrooms, because most of the time is like Q&A,
Yeah.
and today most of the questions, if it's not about things that I purposely left out for them to ask, was if my friend's struggling, what do I do?
Yeah.
Or when do I know when to go to an adult and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Yeah. No, exactly. Um, oh, yeah, it's really, that's just like, I think it's really cool what you're trying to do with that. Now, all right. So you talked to your friend.
hmm
You went now you said you speak to a psychiatrist. So are you on, I mean, if you don't mind me
Yeah.
asking, like medication part
Yeah.
of your plan or is
Yeah.
it okay.
So from sophomore year, when the first psychiatrist I started with, and the only person I'm still with today in
Yeah.
that realm of doctors, and we switched medications 4 or 5 times, upping, lowering. So yeah, I mean it's still you just take them. One of the
Has
things
it been
that
helpful? Has the medication been
so
helpful?
that's what I was about to get to is I even question her. I was like, am I feeling better because of the medication or is because of an event that just happened? Is it because I
Yeah.
just hung out with my friends,
Yeah.
on the weekend, or is it because of this medication? So, like to answer that now, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of like I think the medication and sometimes people have like a bad connotation
Yeah.
around medication.
hmm
And I maybe even had that too, but now I'm like, I don't know. I think this works for me, but I also have to do all this other stuff too. It can't be just the
hmm
medication. Like I have to like work on like the self-care type stuff. Like
hmm
I got to exercise. I gotta one of the things for me, I'm curious about you too, since you said that you didn't eat that. Were you hydrated at all? Did you drink a lot of water or no?
Someone asked that today, and I think I mean, I don't think I was, to be honest. Maybe.
Yeah.
But I remember the limit a day was under 1,000 calories,
Yeah.
and I remember it would be like 2 protein bars and a protein drink, and that was it. Like that would get me at the limit.
But were you drinking water at all
I
at
don't
that?
think I was. Maybe a little bit. I don't think I was though.
Okay, so
Yeah.
it's funny. I might have told you this, but I was when I was in like my deep lowest point, I was in the hospital and we were we were doing like a I don't know, we were in a meeting and I was like,
Mhm.
oh God, like I was like almost falling asleep. And at one point they were like, there's a link between dehydration and depression.
Mhm.
And I was
Yeah.
like, what? And I was like, oh my God, I never drink water. So like from that point forward, like I became relentless drinking
Mhm.
water all the time. And, I don't know what it's been, but between that or like new medication or something else, like I've
Mhm.
never felt better. But I do think that like that could have been like played a big role for
Yeah.
me. And I'm wondering the same thing for you as well.
Yeah, I just heard that. It's probably from you, because I remember
Yeah.
hearing that recently, like the link to water
Yeah,
and
like I
those
don't think
mental
it's
health
like a
challenges.
direct caught, but like if you are
Mhm.
someone who deals with depression and you don't stay hydrated, like it's gonna happen as
Mhm.
opposed to like you can prevent it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was thinking of that when you were talking about the eating stuff. Um, I guess how are you now? Like, do you feel like you have a pretty good grasp on it?
Mhm. Well, like when I tell people, like I still live with depression and my anxiety, right?
Yeah.
That's not anything different. But what I'm learning is every single month I'm getting better, and most importantly, I'm learning how to deal with these
Yeah.
issues and these thoughts a lot better than it was before.
Yeah.
A lot of the things I struggled with was panic attacks.
Yeah.
Like those panic attacks kind of left me paralyzed, like, snot and tears streaming down your face, not being able to breathe, your heartbeat racing, pain like in your head, all those things. But now I could feel it coming on. It sometimes happens randomly, but as before, sometimes I used to run outside and be screaming like,
Yeah.
why me?
Yeah.
Wishing I could trade my mind for someone else's.
Yeah.
But now I kind of recognize those signs, and I'm like,
what do you do then? Like,
yeah. So the biggest thing that I used to call them, like in high school, because I was in a lot of clubs and like AP classes, like those were always distractions for me.
Mhm.
So now it's kind of almost the same thing. Like it would either, for me, like just hopping on Xbox with my friends, that's helps me a lot. Just distracting myself with something
Yeah.
else. We have our phone always, so that helps. Just like playing a game or something. But a lot of it is kind of reassuring myself that, okay, I've gone through this a million times. It's going to be okay. And if I'm with a friend, because sometimes it happens, I just tell, like normally if it's one of the two
Yeah.
or three, I just tell them like, okay, like I think I'm having like a panic attack. Like,
Yeah.
let's just keep talking about something random.
Do you ever try like breathing exercise?
mhm.
Like, what do you do? Like box? What is
It's
it?
like,
There's like
the
box
box
breathing.
breathing. Yeah. So I kind of always do like stomach breathing, like where you
Oh yeah,
not
yeah,
breathing in your lungs. So you like, I don't know the science, but yeah.
yeah,
So that like helps for me. Like I do that on top of everything else, regardless.
yeah,
I know there's a few things of like grounding yourself, like all the senses, naming something. I just heard of one today, like it's called a rainbow. You find one of every color in the room
yeah,
and stuff like that. But yeah, the biggest thing for me today is kind of knowing that I'm not alone in my
yeah,
struggles.
yeah.
One of the main things that I went through up until really recently is like I'm alone in this,
Mm-hmm.
and no one cares about me, everything like this. But now I'm kind of slowly learning that I'm not alone. Like my recovery doesn't have to be alone, and I just reassure myself that there's people that love me, there's people that are there for me,
Yeah.
and if I do need to reach out for help, there's resources that I could go to.
Now, okay, so that you just went to college, right? So this
Yeah,
year,
yeah, it's my
and are you
fifth week.
living on
Yeah.
campus? Okay,
Yep.
so has that been tough? Like, has that been an adjustment, or do you have like friends there with you, or did you have to make
So,
entirely new friends?
which I'm kind of annoyed at. It's only me.
Okay.
So I have two friends, or like close friends at least, like at U of I, two at ISU, and a few like at like Denver and Oregon too, which
Yeah.
is pretty cool. But yeah, like I'm the only one here. The first like day or two, I was like, I'm definitely gonna go into a bad state. Everything's gonna restart,
Yeah.
and then just school started. People knock on your door. You make random friends.
Yeah. Right.
But I think my mindset about, because a lot of my anxiety was about friends.
Yeah.
I think a lot of that has been better.
Yeah.
But I'm still in contact with all my friends.
Oh, good.
So it's,
Now, are you? I mean, you're probably just starting, but have you
Mhm.
been trying to get involved in any like advocacy groups for
Ooh.
this at the school?
I kind of looked, and they don't have any clubs, anything, and I was like, I remember I was talking to them,
Might have to
and
start
I, and
the
I,
Ryan
Lipsett, yeah.
Lipsett Club. Yeah.
I leaned in and I was like, you don't have any mental health clubs. Like I was like almost like my
Yeah.
jaw dropping. They have a lot of resources, but like, I don't know. I was like, how do you not have a club?
Yeah.
But a lot of my time advocating is like speaking at random events, but also like I speak for NAMI DuPage.
Yeah.
So they're the third largest
Yeah.
like chapter in the United States. And I also speak for South Suburbs.
Yeah.
So like my school and that area.
Yeah.
So that keeps a lot of my time up, like for speaking. Like it's something every week at least.
Oh, that's awesome. So that's probably like you were saying, like that is helpful for you, right?
That's the best thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, are you all? This is what I talk about, and I know it might be hard to think about now because you're young. But like, do you ever, now that you're going around and speaking, and you're having an impact, are you ever almost like glad that you maybe had some of
You,
the
you
struggles
know,
in the past. You know what I'm
I,
talking about?
yeah, I've
Like,
been thinking about that recently,
yeah,
and I do think so. I would rather have me gone through everything I've gone through than anyone else in the world to go through what I was going through.
yeah,
But yeah, like I just thought, like I've been thinking about that recently, and I
yeah. I
come
mean,
to the
like, cause
conclusion like
yeah,
I'm still here, like I made it out somehow.
yeah,
So I think if someone else was given the voice, like I know like I just have that passion to go and help people. You know, there's a lot of people out, most people don't.
yeah,
So I'm glad I went through it instead of someone else.
yeah. Well, have you gotten like feedback yet from someone, like a kid or like someone else who's been like, oh my God, like
hmm
this is exactly what I have to go get help. Have you had that happen
I
yet?
think for like immediate things, like very serious things like that, like I had it more at like the IEA conference. So there was 1,100 teachers there
Yeah,
from all the schools in like Illinois, and a lot of them came up to me and were just crying. Like my son just took
yeah,
his life. We had a student who died by suicide. So it's like or even parents like I've been approaching this all wrong,
yeah,
and that's kind of the biggest like more immediate things. But like for NAMI we have like a white paper
yeah,
where they could like what do you like about it, and like a survey, and like I read them every time. It's like hundreds, but I'm always like, I like the guy
yeah,
and
yeah,
stuff like
yeah,
that.
right,
Where I'm like,
yeah,
okay, awesome.
yeah.
Or it's
I
like,
liked it. He's gonna do
but
it.
the best one, like Gate was, I think he did a good job, and I feel a little bit less alone in my struggles, and that's my goal,
Oh yeah,
right?
that's
To make
awesome.
these people feel a little bit less alone. And when
Yeah,
I drive to everywhere, is open up, because
yeah,
that saved my life, was opening up to a friend, opening up to my mom.
yeah.
But
Well, and I think as you do it more, here's what's gonna happen. Like I think talks like that sometimes take some time to like register.
hmm
And like there's gonna be a time like 4 years from now where someone that you spoke in front of is gonna like contact you and they're gonna say like, hey, because of you, I did this. And that's just the person that tells you. But I
hmm
can guarantee you there's gonna be more people that you affect that never say anything to you. But I do think like that's gonna happen, which is I think a pretty cool thing and
yeah,
hopefully
that's
makes you feel good knowing
hmm
that you're trying to help other people.
yeah. Like when reading that, a few of these things, those today, just like like he reassured me on things, and finally validated my feelings, and
Yeah,
kind of like, oh, I'm going through the same thing, like I'm
yeah,
glad someone he came in today, and
yeah,
like that's why I do it.
yeah,
It's for people like that.
yeah. And when you get stuff like sometimes like when I get stuff like that, I'll write a note to like a kid's parents and like a nice note because it's like, all right, somebody wrote something to me. Like
Yeah.
I'm gonna like show my gratitude to somebody else. And it kind of makes you feel good doing
hmm
that too, that you're trying to that actually reminds me, I have a funny story. The greatest note I've ever gotten, this has nothing to do with what we're talking about, but the greatest note I've ever gotten from a student, this kid came up to me with this note and it was like teacher appreciation, and it said, Maley, you are the teacher that I hate the least. And I was like, thank you. That's a good note. It's my favorite thing I've ever gotten. And I have it on my wall. And
That's funny.
but anyways, so uh so you're going around speaking now. Like how many places have you been to?
Um, I've not that many. I've kind of done like big events, but that's about it. Like if I can name like most of the thing was just working with organizations like privately,
Yeah.
like just doing small
Don't
meetings
worry,
or
we're
with
gonna
day
get you to
one.
a lot of different places. We're gonna
Yeah,
send this
but
to everybody.
like a few high schools.
Which ones did you go to?
Oh,
Matea?
Matea, Bremen. I was just
Oh,
at.
Bremen, yeah.
I don't know if I would count Oak Forest, even though I went there. I didn't really share my story there.
Yeah.
Uh, a
Right.
Chicago public school, Mount Vernon, which
Oh, okay, yeah.
my mom's an assistant principal there,
Oh, awesome.
and just a few other, like a lot of those DuPage area, because they're super busy. They have a lot. So
Yeah.
I have so much things planned for this semester, like a ton of other schools.
Yeah.
And then for kind of a lot of like that other side, like speaking at that state conference, as well as kind of like I did a video for Discovery Education,
Yeah.
and then like been like asked like on Project EDSA, which is like this eating disorder awareness,
Yeah.
and then yeah, like just a,
Oh, that's
I
awesome.
don't know if I
That's
can,
really, I mean,
yeah, and
that's
the
really cool.
yeah, it's yeah, it's been
No, it's
fun.
really cool. I mean, I can't imagine doing that at that like, so you mentioned like anxiety. Did you ever get like anxiety, like even
Like
coming here,
oh
were you like,
well,
did you have anxiety coming here?
a,
Probably
when
like
I
this 41-year-old creep. Yeah.
when I first started, absolutely. Like
Yeah.
I remember before the IEA, the most I'd talking to was maybe 60 people in a room. It was
Okay.
at the Board of Commissioners office.
Yeah.
They gave me some or award thing.
Yeah.
So that was like 60 people. And then when I was speaking at that, I was like, okay, I'm talking to a room full of teachers.
Yeah.
You know, and one of the things I said during it was like, teachers understand it's easy.
Yeah.
Like it's easy, better than kids,
Yeah.
especially my age even.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I'm talking to maybe 30 people. I walk in the room, I remember, took a right, and like I said, 1,100 people are there, and I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Like I walked in and they were like, I'm Ryan, could you like validate my parking?
Yeah.
And they're like, Ryan, we've been looking for you.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm 45 minutes early.
Hey.
And like them, and then like sitting down like the big stage, and I'm behind it with all these people, and I'm like freaking out, like almost having a panic attack.
Yeah.
And two people from one, like their mental health, for like the head of the mental health for IEA was there, and then the main NAMI Illinois person, and then my high school physics teacher were there. So like they were like, it's gonna be okay, and I'm like, that's not helping.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
And then I told my teacher, and like he got me water, and I was like, I'm like low key freaking out, and he's like, and he just started laughing.
Yeah.
So, but I think that's better than like being like, okay, like
Yeah.
no,
Right.
like we could cancel it. And then when I got up there, you kind of just you're like, I had a whole
You got in
like
the flow state, probably.
yeah, yes, I did. Like I had a notebook of bullet points. I'm like, okay, I need to hit this. I need to hit this.
Yeah.
Because it's teachers like I want to get my point across and what I want to do.
Yeah.
And then I just didn't look at it once, and I just was going off. Like you can't even hear yourself speak. Like you're just talking.
Yeah.
But now, even like maybe my first school, I was nervous, but now it's like right when I start, like my heart's beating a little bit, and then the second I say the first word, it's just like I'm just having a conversation.
Yeah.
Like now today, like when we first sat down, just my heart was beating like a little bit, and then
then
you know it starts, and then you're
you're
good.
to go. Yeah. It's almost like how sports were for me in a way. I'd get like super nervous, but then like once it happened, I was like good.
Mhm.
Like once I started going, I was good to go.
Yeah.
But I think it's cool that you talked in front of teachers too, because I think, if you see a young person actually like talking about this, like it kind of changes I mean, as teachers, we see this a lot, but it still kind of changes your perspective when you see somebody, or if you go through it yourself, or if you had a child go
Mhm.
through it. Like I know it's changed my perspective and how I like manage kids. And I always say though, like I'm still like super strict, but it's because I feel like kids kind of need boundaries, and it almost helps mental health. But it
Mhm.
was funny. I got a message from an English teacher at our school the other day, and she goes, "I thought you should see this." And it was this girl wrote this essay on one of her mentors, and she basically spent the whole essay, and she was like basically saying how much she hated me, but I changed her life because I saw that she was struggling one day, and I went and I talked to her, and we talked for like an hour, and we got her the help that she needed, and I started sharing my story, and I remember saying to her at the time, like, I'm still going to be hard on you though. And she was like, okay, that I understand. So
Mhm.
it's kind of funny, like her saying like she was appreciating me as her mentor, even though she used to hate me for a long
Yeah.
time. That's it was just a cool thing. And I think I would have never gotten to that point as a teacher where I would like, if somebody was like getting in an argument with me, that I would have been just like, I would have started like arguing back and
Mm-hmm.
been, but like I actually stopped, took the time to actually like see what was going on. Now, I think that's because I've dealt with it, but then, you going around and speaking from that perspective, I think can help teachers,
Mm-hmm.
other teachers see that and
Yeah.
know that like maybe there's something
Mm-hmm.
else behind it.
And I also think like older teachers or even anyone like they don't think it exists. I think one of the questions like after I spoke, someone came up to like me and the head of the IA like mental health was like, why do we need to teach mental health like we already teach them about physical health?
Yeah.
And you just like tell them it's like, well, it's both.
Yeah.
You're teaching
Right.
health,
Yeah.
right? You need to teach physical and mental health. We all have both.
Yeah.
So it's kind of, hearing someone that it's like these things do exist, they're still happening today, and there's still more to be done.
Yeah. No, I mean, again, I think that's awesome. Well, I guess what I wanted you to do is there any way you can plug what you're doing? Like, is there any way people can find you, or like a Instagram or
Um,
what?
yeah, I mean, I have an Instagram. It's just my name, Ryan Lipsett.
Okay.
But if people want to reach me, it's you just probably I don't know if I don't even know if my email is out there, but
Yeah.
just you'll find me somehow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Text,
You can
text me
definitely.
somehow.
I know. Well, we connected on
Instagram,
the
yeah.
Instagram too, so I
Mhm.
think that'd be a way to reach you, and hopefully,
Mhm.
again, I think it shows. Like, I know I started with this, but I think it shows like how the world has come a long way.
Mhm.
But I still think the world needs to go even
For sure.
further.
Yeah.
And I think it's guys like you who can help make it so that when another kid is 15 years old, that
Mhm.
they like can take care of it immediately.
Yeah.
So then it doesn't lead to
Mhm.
disastrous results, which sometimes does
Yeah.
happen. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, no, I just want to thank you, and I appreciate Ryan coming out here to share his story. Because, as I mentioned earlier, by sharing our stories, not only do we help others, we end up helping ourselves because that's the Maley way. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah.